go ahead and look at this first question. The information in the question, there's 15% of a DNA sample which is made up of thymine, represented by T. So 15% is thymine. It's saying what percentage of the sample is made up of cytosine, which is a C. So there's a couple things that you need to know. The first thing is to write down T, and we have to ask ourselves, what is the nitrogen base that goes with T? Hopefully you're saying A. And then we have to look at C, cytosine. Doesn't go with thymine. And what does cytosine go with? What is its complementary nitrogen base? And that's guanine with a G. All four of these nitrogen bases, if we were to add up everything in the DNA molecule, it should come up to 100%. Well, what it's telling us is this thymine is 15%. Well, we know because of the base rule, for every T thymine, there is an A adenine. So really you can kind of think of that as an equal sign, not only a hydrogen bond, but an equal sign. So if T is 15%, A has to be 15%. And if we add those together, that is going to equal 30%. Remember, all four of these have to add up to 100%. So I only have 30% accounted for. So 100 minus 30 is going to give us 70%. So 70% has to be coming from the cytosine and guanine. And like thymine and adenine, these are also equal to one another. So the easiest thing to do is take that 70, divide it by 2, and you should come up with 35. So each of these nitrogen bases will have an abundance of 35%. So B is the correct answer. If we look at this next picture, I'm just going to jot some notes about it. I know that this is DNA. I know it's a double helix. I know that it contains genes or heredity information that could be passed down from generation to generation. So before I even look at the question, I'm going to write everything that I know about that. I know that A goes with T. I know that C goes with G. The question says, which statement best describes one characteristic of this molecule above? So I'm going to go through the answers. A, it is a template for replication, and a template means that it's going to be the part that is going to be copied. It's for replication of genetic information. Okay. I think it's that answer, but I'm going to look at the next one. Organic catalyst. We've never talked about organic catalysts, so I'm just going to mark that one out. The next answer, it is different in each cell of an organism. DNA is the same in each cell of an organism. So this is a wrong answer. D, cell membranes contain many of these molecules. Cell membranes are made up of phospholipids. It's a phospholipid bilayer. It does not contain DNA. That is the incorrect answer. So it is A. It is a template, which means that once it is opened up by the helicase, then those nitrogen bases are going to be added on to each one of the strands. Next question looks just like a vocabulary quiz that we had, in which identifying a specific section of the DNA. Well, this was a vocabulary word, and that's called a gene. Again, we have a double helix. This over here is a chromosome. Okay. So it says the diagram above represents a structure found in most cells. The section labeled A on the diagram is most likely. It's not a protein, because we haven't really talked about proteins, and we know that this is DNA, so that's not the correct answer. Again, a biological catalyst, we really haven't talked about catalysts at all, so that's not the right answer. Part of a gene, well, I just said it was a gene from our vocabulary, so this might be it. And then D says a chromosome undergoing a mutation. Well, this is the chromosome, and that's not what's labeled, so that's not the right answer. C is the correct answer. Question number 4, the weakest bond. Well, when we were talking in class, the weakest bond that we talked about was hydrogen, and that was between A and T, C, and G. So that bond is a weak bond holding those nitrogen bases together. All right. It says the weakest bond in a double-stranded molecule of deoxyribonucleic acid, DNA, exists between the deoxyribose sugars. Well, I'm going to draw a nucleotide down here. There's the phosphate. Here's my sugar. Here's the nitrogen base. Here's another nitrogen base. Sugar, another phosphate. Well, it's not between the deoxyribose sugars, because these are the sugars, and here's the hydrogen bond. Nitrogen bases, yes, it is between the nitrogen bases. So I'm going to hold on to that one. Phosphate groups, well, here's the phosphate, and that's going to be attached to another nucleotide. So that's not it. And the 5-carbon sugar is the same as the deoxyribose sugar. That's not the correct answer. So 4 is the correct, or B is the correct answer for number 4.